Monday Night Raw starts off with Damian Priest and Gunther. Starts off with Damian talking to Gunther. He ends up saying that he wondered if Gunther grew a set from last week to see if he would say anything to his face. Then he ends up mentioning how Gunther lost all this aura, lost his menacing vibe that he gave off, being the guy that was so, that you couldn't take down. He lost that, and then he ends up mentioning that what would happen to Gunther after Survivor Series after he loses to Guy from the street, referring to Gunther calling him street trash. He ends up going on and on for a bit. Gunther is not responding to him at all. Then Gunther can't take it anymore, and he ends up attacking Damian Priest. But then Damian Priest eventually ends up coming back, overpowering him, and ends up doing a razor's edge through the table. I enjoyed this segment, but man, I was so upset when I seen Damian Priest put him through the table, because that just lets me know that he's losing at Survivor Series. As I love Gunther, I do. I really love Damian Priest as well. I wouldn't mind Damian Priest being the one to dethrone Gunther, but Gunther is not losing this early. They're going to build up that championship run for a while, so yeah, it's unfortunate. But yeah, Damian Priest is definitely losing. I like the story. I'm just very interested to see how would he lose this match, because if Gunther is so unsure of himself, you can't have him be this dominant force that he's been. There has to be a way where... I don't know how they're going to protect Damian Priest in this match while also protecting Gunther, because Gunther is supposed to be this guy that's supposed to be very unsure, unconfident. So if he's unsure and unconfident, how is he going to win this match? Like, that's the only thing that kind of confuses me on how Gunther is actually supposed to win and Damian Priest is supposed to lose. But nonetheless, this has been a really good, interesting feud, interesting build-up, and I can't wait for that match. After this, we end up getting LWO versus American Made. We end up getting, it was Rey Mysterio Dragon League tag match against, the Creed brothers. Towards the end of the match, Brutus Creed, if I'm not mistaken, was by the referee in the corner, distracting the ref. This allowed Chad Gable to interfere in the match, giving Julius Creed the pinfall, pick up the victory for American Made. I like this. This was good. Continue the story, continue the feud. I think this feud has a lot of potential if built right. And I was very concerned for this feud, because I thought for a moment that they was just going to have American Made lose another match, have them lose again, because you can't just have heels constantly lose matches and call it a feud. You just can't do that. But yeah, I don't have much to say, but I am interested. And it's very shocking that Chad Gable, after all of the losing, people love to say he's been buried. I wouldn't go that far. He isn't as hot as he once was, but he still gets nuclear heel heat. Like, he still gets crazy heel heat. He is nowhere near buried. But I understand people want him to win the IC title, but he is not buried. He is still very popular, still over with the crowd. Give it some time. Triple H will eventually pull the trigger. May not be within the next six months or so, but he'll eventually do it. But yeah, this is very interesting. I can't wait to see how this plays out. Now we end up getting Braun Breaker, Ludwig Kaiser. They end up having 1v1 match due to Ludwig interfering last week in his match against Sheamus. Going to mainly speak towards the end here. Mainly was Braun Breaker, but it was a good back and forth. Ludwig did get a bit of offense, but it was this one crazy spot where Braun Breaker tried to go for a spear on the outside, and he ends up hitting the announce table. That was crazy. Maybe he didn't hit the table as hard as I think he did, but bro, from the angle I was seeing it, it looked brutal. I was shocked that the match even continued, but after the match continued, towards the end of the match, Ludwig was going to go to his signature steel steps move, but then Sheamus ends up attacking Ludwig, causing a disqualification. Then this allowed Braun Breaker to get involved, and everyone starts brawling. Then you get Adam Pearce comes out, and he makes it a triple threat for Survivor Series. I like this. I was wondering what was going to be the fifth match, because you don't get Cody and KO. I was like, there has to be another match. That's your next match. Is it 5 matches in Survivor Series? I can't remember if there's 5 matches. The only matches I remember is really just the 2 War Games, this match that just happened, and then Damian and Gunther. Yeah, is there a 5th match? It might only be 4. But nonetheless, they had to add another match. Triple threat between Ludwig, Kaiser, Sheamus, and Braun Breaker. Oh, man, that might be match of the night, to be honest with you. That match should absolutely cook. I can't wait to see how that plays out, man. That match should be an absolute banger, man. Can't wait to see how that match plays out. Now we end up getting Judgment Day versus the War Raiders. Okay, not even going to speak too much on the match. This match played out exactly how every match you think a Judgment Day match would play out. Judgment Day picks up the victory with the interferences, of course. I didn't get my hopes up like some people, because I knew the War Raiders was not going to beat the Judgment Day. Now, they are teasing Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio, one of them turning on the other. Before this, they end up having a segment where basically Finn Balor basically is like, basically giving everyone advice and basically telling everyone to follow his lead, follow his advice, being the quote unquote leader. And Dominic Mysterio is just looking at him with like this, with this certain look of like, I can't really explain it, but he's looking at him in a way where he doesn't respect him. I just say it like that. So they're definitely teasing it. So I already kind of see the vision. They're basically gonna have it to where when the Judgment Day do lose, it's gonna be because of Dominic Mysterio. That's really what's gonna happen. Yeah, I could already see it now. That's gonna be the reason why they lose the titles whenever they do face someone. It's gonna be because of Dominic Mysterio. He's gonna turn on them, causing Finn, and that's gonna start the feud. That's what I think is gonna happen. But they're going to hold those titles for, I don't know how long. They need to lose them, but they're probably not going to lose them for a while, unfortunately. But Judgment Day retains. Now we end up getting the New Day, man. This was really good. New Day, Alpha Academy. They end up losing this match very quickly, which was very shocking. They lost this match in like under a minute, if I'm not even mistaken. But they end up losing the match. After the match, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods start arguing. And during this argument, they end up going towards the gorilla position, go all the way backstage. They're following them, and then they end up, capturing the argument. Kofi starts off with saying, I think Xavier. No, Kofi starts off saying that he was the one that, that sacrificed for Xavier. He talked about how he gave him his IC title shot. Xavier blew that opportunity. He blew his King of the Ring opportunity. And then he ends up saying that there was a reason why him and Big E never let him make decisions, because he's too reckless. Then Xavier responds back to Kofi, ends up saying that Kofi was too scared to go after the world title, and that he wasn't willing to take risks, and that he was the one taking those risks for Kofi to be able to become champion. And he's the reason why. Before he even mentioned, he ends up mentioning that he was the reason why Kofi even became world champion. Then Kofi ends up responding back with saying that he was already a Hall of Famer before he met Xavier, and that it was a reason why he asked him to be a part of the New Day, not the other way around. Then he ends up saying that he ends up mentioning championships. Kofi ends up mentioning that Xavier is the last person to even mentioning singles gold, because he hasn't been able to win a singles championship, and the reason why he can't do it is because he simply is not good enough. And then Xavier responds back and ends up mentioning, since he isn't good enough, he ends up mentioning that when Kofi was world champion, he blew it against Brock Lesnar in 6 seconds. This was great. And then they got their 10-year anniversary of the New Day next week on Raw, which is going to be a banger, because that's officially probably when they're going to break up. This was great. This was amazing. This was great. I am very shocked that Big E hasn't made some type of appearance. Now, of course, I don't expect him to wrestle, but they could still have him as like a TV person. Like, they could still have him on TV as like, talking, because it just feels, well, I'm not going to say it doesn't feel weird for me, but for Big E to be such a big deal of the New Day, it would be kind of weird to have this whole turn and Big E just is not involved at all. It would just be somewhat weird to a degree, but this was great. This was amazing. I can't wait to see what they do on Monday Night Raw next week for their 10-year anniversary. This was great. This was amazing. This was great. I'm really lost for words, and I can't wait to see what happens. After this, we end up getting the Final Testament. They're looking for the Wyatts. And they end up leaving Scarlett behind because Karrion Kross said that he wanted to make sure she was safe. After Karrion Kross, The Miz, and the rest of the Final Testament leave, Scarlett is in the room. She's doing her makeup or something, I don't know. She ends up looking in the mirror, and then you see Nikki Cross is right there. Then it goes away. Then it comes back. Karrion Kross, they end up coming back in the room, and then you just see the room is a mess. Scarlett's on the ground freaking out, and then Karrion Kross tries to comfort her. She starts attacking Karrion Kross, but then it eventually calms down. This was great. I enjoyed this. Can't wait to see this. Low key, in my opinion, should have been a Survivor Series match. If I'm just saying, they could have put this on Survivor Series, in my opinion. But this is really good. They're slowly building this. I'm very interested in this feud. This is the most interesting Karrion Kross has been, even though I've been a big supporter of Karrion Kross. But this is easily the most interesting he has been, and I'm loving the work that they've been doing. This has been really good. After this, though, they end up announcing the women's IC title. Now, if I'm tripping, maybe I'm tripping, but did they announce this early in the show? Because, or did they announce this before the show? Because when I was watching it, because I watched it late because I couldn't watch it when it was going because I was at work. That's why this video was going up so late. But when I was watching it, when they end up showing this announcement, the thing said earlier today. Now, I want to make sure that I'm tripping. Now, I rewinded back to like the beginning of Raw all the way to where I left off. I'm like, I know I'm not tripping. Like, did this had to be announced earlier, like before the show started, and then they just recorded it that way? Because I know I wasn't tripping, but maybe I'm wrong. They never announced the women IC title. Um, I can't wait. I can't wait to see who's in the tournament for that. Can't wait to see who wins it. Very interested to see who will be the first person to be in it, and I'm also curious to see who will be in the tournament because it's mainly going to be Raw people. Because I know on SmackDown they got people like Bayley, Naomi, Bianca. I don't really see that because there's no way they're putting Rhea Ripley in that tournament or Liv Morgan. They may put Raquel. Oh, no, I just thought about it. They may put the title on Raquel. Now that I think about it, that they may end up telling a story with that. But yeah, I know Raquel will probably be in it, but I don't see because Liv Morgan and Rhea are like the only top two women on that roster because Becky Lynch isn't there anymore. So yeah, there's not gonna be many top like main women, like main event women in that tournament. So I'm very interested to see how that plays up. But I'm excited. They needed a mid card title, and I can't wait to see how that whole tournament and who ends up winning the women IC title. Now we begin the main event. Bianca versus Nia Jax. This is to determine who will get the advantage in the War Games match. Now, I am confused in this match only because now I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch this match, so you guys let me know. I watched towards the end. Bayley ends up coming out, interfering and helping Bianca. Now, I am confused because I watched towards the end of the match, and I don't know if someone got thrown out or someone else interfered and then they got thrown out that allowed Bayley to come out. But from what I've seen, I skipped towards the end because I wanted to get this video up. I didn't want to waste too much time, waste any more time because this is already going up late. But yeah, did someone else interfere and then they get thrown out? Because why would Bayley interfere, basically cheating to help? Like, I get she did that to get on her side because they're playing the story of Bayley earning Bianca's trust, but it's like, isn't that more of a heel move? Like, am I tripping? I know the turnbuckle fell off and stuff, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm looking too deep. You guys let me know. But this was a great go-home show. This was a really great episode of Monday Raw. You guys let me know your opinions down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.